Welcome, Erica Ehm, to Kevjet, the podcast, the run-up to Canada Day series. And I'm so excited because you're a Canadian iconic personality.
Okay, I'll take it.
And not just that, but you're going to be here in Trafalgar Square on the day.
Yeah, that's the big one. I am so excited to be participating in this really important party. It's important not just for me and for you because we're participating, but this is a great opportunity to discover new Canadian talent, some older Canadian talent, and for Canada to really show off the kind of talent that's percolating. The music that we create is really specific to some of the different parts of our country. We're so big, and a lot of people don't understand the nuanced local roots music that's being created that really reflects our Canadian culture. And that's what we're going to bring to life on the stage in Trafalgar Square.
It is really exciting because we bring music, food, our personalities, and people just come in off the side of they're walking past Trafalgar Square and they're like, what's going on in the square? And they come on in and of course everyone's welcome and they just have such a great time. It's just a great party.
And this year it's especially poignant because of what's happening in the world. I feel like there is so much deeper Canadian pride, not just here at home for me in Canada, but around the world. People are really sort of giving us a thumbs up and saying, you guys are awesome. And so I think that it's going to be a huge party when we actually hit the stage.
It definitely is. What are you most looking forward to?
Well, representing Canada, obviously, my God, this is to be the person who gets to introduce all this Canadian talent, to educate people in the audience who may not have heard about the artists before, and to sort of be the emissary from Canada to say, welcome, this is who we are, come play with us. My God, I'm so proud to be that person.
I say it all the time. On the day, you're in Trafalgar Square, where the stage is underneath the column. You turn and look, Canada House is on one side of you. The Canadian flags are flying everywhere. It's so iconic just to stand there on a regular day. But to see the Canada Day stage just brings you chills. And to see everybody just get on and dance and have a great time and laugh, I think it's a beautiful day. And I love meeting people because here in London, things are very, very busy. And so you don't have a lot of time to stop and talk to people. But on the day, people just talk to each other and you learn, where are you from and what brings you here and how long have you been here? And there's so many great new connections that are made on that day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a networking experience as well, because who knows who is going to show up in Trafalgar Square.
It's so true. You just never know. And that's the fun part of the day. It's like we can plan it as much as we want, but on the day, it's just an unexpected and it's just fun. And I can't wait for you to experience it. If you haven't, have you been here before for Canada Day?
Not for Canada Day. No, I'm always here in Canada.
Yeah, of course.
It takes a lot. It takes a lot for me to leave this country on our birthday. And this is worth it.
That's amazing. It is so worth it. You're going to love it. And hopefully you're going to want to keep coming back. It's the second largest Canada Day celebration outside of the country.
That is so cool. We're going to make it the largest. Okay. That's our plan this year.
I think we should. And this year it's so important as well. And like you said, the Canadian pride is it's just exploded this year. And I'm so excited. And the lineup is great. It's slowly coming out. It's not just announced just yet, but some of the bands are. And I can't wait for it to be all announced. And I think people are going to be very excited. I'm getting lots of comments online asking who's playing, who's coming, what's going to be happening. There's a lot of...
Well, I can tell you that we made the big announcement today that the Arkells are headlining. So that's a huge deal.
I can't wait. It's going to be such a great party, as it is every year. But the lineup this year is fun. And I just can't wait to see the crowd dancing, because I think this year more than ever is going to be a party year.
Let's hope.
Exactly.
Will there be beer? If there's beer, there's a party.
There will be beer. There will be beer. There is, in fact, one of the sponsors which I probably can say, is Crown Royal as well. So not just beer. So by the time
Great.
the headliners hit the stage, it will be a great time. Let's just, so if somebody's listening from over here in London or from another country, and they're thinking, who is Erica Ehm? How would you describe yourself? What would your bio be?
Well, for people who live in the UK, they might have seen me on TV 30 years ago, 35 years ago on a show called Canada Calling. It was produced by MuchMusic, which is where I worked for a decade, which was our national music channel, much like MTV, but way better. And we produced weekly shows for Canada Calling, where we played music, predominantly Canadian, but eclectic music all around. So some people, when I go to the UK, they go, wait, weren't you that woman? So that's, I guess, how a lot of people know me. I've continued to work in the media. I am sort of a thought leader, I guess, in many ways. I stand up for things I believe in. And one of those is being a very proud Canadian, which leads me right to you.
Definitely. And we can't wait to have you here. Myself, I remember you on MuchMusic. I don't even know if MuchMusic still is a thing at home in Canada at the moment, or if it's more of a, last time I was home, I think it's mostly like they play sitcoms and different things. It's changed, hasn't it?
Well, to be honest, I left 35 years ago. I was 23 when I first went on air, and I left when I was 34. So it was a big chunk of my sort of early years. It was an incredible place to grow up. It also really gave me many skills because it was live with no script. So I was essentially doing live TV with no guardrails for 4 hours every day, 52 weeks a year. So I became pretty adept at doing live shows, which is why when I take the stage in Trafalgar Square, it'll be fun. I'm super comfortable on stage. I love engaging with the audience. Hopefully I'll go into the audience and fool around and really make a big event feel intimate.
That's what I like to hear. And I think that's what all the Canadians like to hear as well, because that's what we like to bring to the square.
Mhm.
Do you have a favorite moment from MuchMusic? If you had to choose one.
I don't know. I think what a lot of people remember from me is my interview with Kurt Cobain. I was invited to go to Seattle when they released In Utero, and I did a pretty in-depth and emotional interview with Kurt Cobain. It was 3 months before he died, and we had a pretty in-depth, heart to heart, and it landed up on YouTube years after the interview. And now generations have seen that interview. So I guess I don't know if it was my favorite moment, but it certainly was in many ways my journalistic legacy.
If there was a program right now that rang you and said, we'd love to have you come and VJ, a new music program, how do you think that would look different to it did years ago when you were at MuchMusic? Do you think it would be very different, or do you think it would almost be exactly the same?
Well, I think it would be different because the medium would probably be different because people don't watch television the same way. So I imagine that it will be a streamed show. I think that's the problem that MuchMusic had, is that it didn't innovate quickly enough. It didn't jump into the digital space quickly enough. If there were to be a new version of MuchMusic, it would have to be much more tech friendly and really much more, when I say down to earth, I mean democratically broadcast, if you will. So it's not like one to many. It's going to be sort of by the people, for the people.
Definitely. I find social media, people have an attention span of 30 to 40 seconds, and they hit scroll and you go to the next video. And that's sort of where we are today.
That's partly because, I think that's also because the content isn't necessarily as engaging. Everybody is looking for clickbait and quick, frothy, often uninspired information. So if you made it richer and valuable, then I think people would stay for the 3 minutes, because when we would do we called them throws back then, or introduction to videos, they were short but hopefully people remember them as being rich and compelling. So I think it's what happens when you get many people who may not be broadcasters by trade, who don't know necessarily how to engage an audience. Now, having said that, there's some incredible personalities out there now who have figured out how to connect with people online. And that's the kind of stuff that MuchMusic should be doing, which is really bringing the heart and integrity and authenticity back into music and storytelling.
And having said that, it's not necessarily the younger generation either.
Oh God, no. No, my cohort is living online in many ways. Many of my friends I've met online, my good friends, they're now my friends in person. I feel like the internet is an incredible place as long as you stay off platforms like Twitter now, which used to be my happy place, but now it's filled with really unhappy, angry people. So I just avoid it. But there are spaces online where you can deeply connect with people and build relationships. And I've met incredible friends. I've started relationships. I have scored jobs. The internet is fantastic. And you have to make it what you want it to be. The internet for me is a place of kindness and connection.
Love that. I wish more people would say that. It's true. So since we're talking about internet, how do you manage social media? Because there's so many different platforms, as we were just talking about the platforms. Like, I don't do Twitter anymore. Obviously, that was gone. But then you have you can name 5 top ones. How do you manage all that?
Well, I just chose a few. So I, for years, have been on Facebook. So I don't leave Facebook. And a lot of the people who are my cohort are older, so they're on Facebook. And I have really dug into Instagram, and it makes it easy because when you post on Instagram, it also automatically posts on Facebook. So that's great. And then I really like LinkedIn because I am an entrepreneur. I run marketing businesses. I work for a financial services company. So a lot of my peers are there. I've never jumped onto TikTok. It just kind of passed me by. Snapchat. Those are for my kids. So those are the ones that I connect mostly with: Instagram and LinkedIn. You have to really put a lot of time and effort into it. So people do, and they reap the benefits, but it's hard work. It is absolutely hard work.
It definitely is. I definitely agree there. You are not just a VJ. You have so many different talents. You're an award-winning songwriter. Tell me about that.
Yeah. Well, in the late 80s, I met someone named Tim Thorney, who is a really talented songwriter, and he saw something in me and he asked me if I wanted to collaborate. And I said, I've never written a song before. And he said, well, let's see what you got. And we just hit it off. So we ended up writing about 7 albums together. So what we did was a little different because we're quite entrepreneurial, is that we would find an artist and then write all of their songs and then produce the record. And then we started a record label, which was distributed by Sony. So we kind of built an ecosystem for our songs, which is a very different way of producing music and creating music. So we were sort of writing the lives of our singers. And Tim and I collaborated for about a decade. We won all kinds of awards: Junos, Country Music Awards, Songwriter Awards. It truly was one of the most creatively fulfilling times in my life. And then Tim went on to become Alanis Morissette's songwriting partner. So I ended up collaborating with different people over the years and continue to occasionally write songs. I really love it. It's a great creative outlet.
Acting. You've gone into acting. Alfred Hitchcock's Presents, for example. RoboCop. I mean, what was that like?
Well, it was always fun because when I was very young, I wanted to be an actor. That was my vision in life. I studied theater. I used to have drawers full of plays and scripts. But ultimately, when I had this opportunity to sort of go into the music industry and eventually landed up on MuchMusic, I think I realized that I'm a better personality than I am playing somebody else. So I think the highlight for me, though, in terms of acting, was when I played a role in Unidentified Human Remains and the True Meaning of Love. That was a really fantastic, gripping play that I was in Canada, in Winnipeg, and also in Ottawa and Montreal. It was really hard and scary. And it showed me that, well, I could do this, but I went back to being just me. But I would do it again. If somebody reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to try it? If I thought I could bring value to the show, then I would do it.
I feel like you don't fit in a box. I feel like you live your life outside of any box that somebody could try and stuff you into.
Well, I think that is the best compliment I have ever heard. And I'm not saying that just because this is your podcast. It's true. I am a creative soul, always looking for opportunities to collaborate and push me out of my comfort zone. And I think the penultimate of that was this past year when Glass Tiger, one of Canada's most beloved bands, reached out to me in a text asking me to be their opening act on their national tour. And I was like, WTF? What are you talking about? And I thought about it and I thought, yeah, I'm going to do it. And so I wrote a one-woman show, and kudos to them for thinking again out of the box to have someone who doesn't sing, dance, or play an instrument be an opening act for their rock show. And it was a huge success. Lots of standing ovations. It's a show about, storytelling, sort of what happened behind the scenes back in the day in MuchMusic, because so many people connected their past with me and the team at MuchMusic. So they really related to the stories because I was giving them a backstage view of what was really happening those days that they were watching.
So many people that I speak to, and I've mentioned your name about being on the show and coming over for Canada Day. I always get I had the biggest crush on her.
Tell them I'm still hot.
Do you get that a lot?
I do. And it's kind of hate it because I put a lot of effort into creating the stories and doing the work. And to be remembered for the way you look is, I don't know, it just kind of bugs me. Hopefully what they're saying when they say they had a biggest crush on me was not just the way that I looked, but what I brought to the table in terms of a performance, in terms of being knowledgeable about music, because that's kind of hot, I guess. And the way I handled a lot of the bands who were perhaps not on their best behavior. I think it's hopefully what they're saying is I really loved watching her. She looked great, but she also was kick-ass. That's what I'm hoping.
Definitely. Definitely. What do you think of, if I were to say, what comes to mind when I say the word Canada?
Home, pride. I mean, look at me. I'm wearing my favorite Roots Canada sweatshirt. I am so proud to be Canadian. The values that we stand for, inclusivity, protecting each other. It's all for one and one for all. It is not as entrepreneurial as our ex-neighbor to the north, but there is a deep kindness that really defines who I am. And I feel like Canada is me and I'm Canadian.
What is your favorite Canadian thing or favorite thing about Canadians?
Well, it's the kindness. There's no doubt about it. It's so funny how we apologize for everything. Sorry about that. Sorry. People just are sensitive to each other. And also, I love Canadian culture because we're so spread out. There are pockets of creativity all over our country. And so there is not one umbrella Canadian sound or Canadian look or even Canadian way of speaking. And that is what is Canadian, is that we are a mix of cultures and we are accepting of people from around the world who come and make it home and add to this beautiful potpourri of Canadianness. So I think it's the inclusivity and the creativity and our ever shifting culture is what I love about Canada.
Amen, sister. Let's move into some quick fire questions. When are you most inspired?
When I'm with inspiring people, I have a lot of friends who are they're just kind of magic people. And when I'm around them, I get ideas. Also, when I'm at my cottage, which is where I'm here today, where I get to sit on my deck and look at the waves on the lake and feel the breeze. And I get to just zone out and think and be and create.
What is one song that you can listen to on repeat?
I think it's a song that I wrote a long time ago. There's two of them. One of them is called Lavender Hill, and the other one is called Which Face Should I Put On Tonight? And those two songs they really reflect who I am. And when I listen to them, I go, oh yeah, that's still true.
If you could raid one person's closet, who would it be?
My sister's, for sure. My sister is a fashion whore, and she shops like crazy, but she knows how to find the right deals. And in fact, she's coming with me when I come to London, and she used to live in London. So she knows where to go. And basically, we're going to do the show for a couple of days, and then we're frickin' shopping.
I love that. What's the thing that you've always wanted to try, but you've been too afraid of?
It's an easy one. A novel. Write a novel, for sure.
I feel like there would be nothing you'd be afraid of.
Yes, I wish that were true. But the problem is, a novel is really hard. The more I look into it, my sister just completed a novel. So I was beside her the whole time. And you need to have such deep focus. And right now, I feel like my head is in many different places. So I don't have that sustained focus right now, but I will. And it is on my bucket list. I have ideas. So I just have to frickin' do it. So who knows? Maybe after Canada Day, when that's off my plate and I'm at my cottage, I'll get to work.
Amazing. I can't wait for that because I can imagine it would be a hell of a story.
Well, it will take a long time. That's for sure.
What's a trend that you would like to see disappear forever?
I think it's the social media trends that Trump started, which is it's okay to be horrible to people. I want that to go away. It is splitting up families, friends, and it's breaking up society. So I really hope that someone wakes up and go, being an asshole is not helpful.
Let's hope that happens. What's the biggest misconception people have of you?
Well, I don't know. I think you'd have to answer that. I don't really know what people think about me. You can answer that. What do you think? You've been talking to me for half an hour. What do you think the biggest misconception is that people have of me now that you've met me?
Gosh, I don't know. I might be able to answer it after Canada Day.
Okay.
Because we're like virtual speaking. But I don't know. I think that if people think that they know you because they see you on TV or they see or they listen to you and then they meet you in person, is there something that somebody says, oh, I expected this, or I expected something different, or I thought this?
Probably. It's just that I'm far more nuanced and accomplished than most people know, because a lot of what I do, no one really knows about.
Yeah. You're extremely busy. I was reading up on you, and I don't know how you even sleep at night with all the things that you're busy doing. And I just think it's amazing. You're a powerhouse, that's for sure.
Well, I always sleep because that's the only way your brain can function the next day. That's like priority.
I always thought you were a big snob, but you're actually friendly. That's what I get all the time.
That's people's insecurity.
Yeah. And it makes me laugh because I expect it now. So
they're just reflecting their own insecurities onto you.
Yeah, but that's what I get all the time. So I was just wondering if there was something you got.
I think the biggest sort of shock that people have when they meet me is that how old I am. They're like, you can't be that old. But I'm like, yes, I am that old. So I think it's probably that most of my friends are like 15 years younger than me. Just psychographically, that's where I ended up. So I am, I guess, very young at heart. And so I think a lot of people are surprised.
Some of my very best friends in my whole life are 20 years older than myself. I think it
makes sense.
It does. It totally does. Who in your life would you trust to care for you if you were an egg?
I would have to say it's my sister, but she is a Taurus, which is a bull in a china shop. So she's very intense. So the egg thing may be an issue. Maybe my son, who is a very gentle soul, but very strong, maybe him.
Who do you wish you could reconnect with?
Well, I think it would be Tim Thorney, who died, my songwriting partner.
What's the nicest thing someone has done for you?
A friend of mine just sent me these beautiful AirPods. So I'd say the gift of the AirPod.
Amazing. What do you think you'll be like in older age?
Well, I'll be the same. Like constantly creating. Wait. Yes, I will be constantly craving creativity. I have to be doing something that lights me up. And so I think that's what I'll be like to my dying day.
We have a sort of crazy circle of friends and our work life. So who would be your favorite celebrity?
In what way?
I know. So it's a really good question. So I think as in someone that you don't know, like it's difficult because the word celebrity means a different thing to different people. But if you had to think of somebody as a celebrity that you don't know, maybe somebody you follow on socials.
Well, I guess it would be Barbara Streisand. I listened to her audiobook, which was actually chosen as the best audiobook of this year. And I really respect her for an incredible career that she created, that she worked so hard first as a performer, then as a producer and as a director, a writer. She sweats the details. She stands up for what she believes in. She speaks out on politics when things are what she believes to be wrong. She donates money to campaigns. She lifts up the people who don't always get respected. I have so much respect for her. I think she's fantastic. She, like you said about me, you can't put her in a box.
Yeah. You're definitely one person. The more I read about, because I know you from MuchMusic, like most Canadians, especially my age. And the more I was discovering about you, the more I was like, this is one woman that would never be put in a box. You could never put her in a category. She's just out there. And I think everybody should be like that.
I agree. I think people are afraid to step outside their little perfect worlds. People are afraid to fail. They perhaps have insecurity about their potential, but you'll only know if you put yourself out there. And if you fail, it means you have an opportunity to learn. And if you don't fail and you keep a safe life, well, what kind of fun is that?
Exactly. Who is your hero?
Probably my mom. Yeah, my mom was a force of nature. And my dad, both of them dared to do crazy things with their lives and always with integrity, but certainly off the beaten path, both of them. Yeah, both my sister and I won the lottery with our parents.
What has been your favorite age so far?
Well, I would have to say it's now, because when I did the National Glass Tiger tour was so far the highlight of my life. In many ways, it was like the culmination of so many of the things that I love to do. So I would say that, which means that what's next?
Canada Day, London.
Yes.
What's the first thing you plan on doing when you arrive in London?
Shooting some stuff for Instagram for the National Arts Centre, because I am going to this show and participating because of the NAC. And the National Arts Centre, by the way, for the people who may not know, is a theater in Ottawa that has many different theaters in it. And it is really the cultural gem of Canada. And they want to spread the word about what's going on creatively and culturally in Canada. So they're the ones who are putting on this show. And I'm so grateful. And part of the reason why I think I'm on stage in Trafalgar Square is because I did my Glass Tiger show at the NAC, and they saw that I know how to have fun with an audience. And so they're bringing me there. But weirdly enough, I was actually on their stage years ago when I did my play, Unidentified Human Remains. So like, I feel a very strong bond with the NAC. And so I really want to promote the show for them. And the way I do that is by, using social media. So I'll get off the plane. I'll be really tired, but I'll be Instagramming.
Yeah, definitely. You won't have time to be tired. We are going to have a great time while you're here. And I can't wait to meet you in person. And I can't wait for you to meet the team and just be part of Canada Day London.
Yeah, me too.
Amazing. Thanks for the chat, Erica.